I'm Peter Brown. You might remember me from the Lawman series or Laredo or one of the 3 soap operas I've done or many other shows on prime time. But this performance is a little bit different. Television. It's a powerful medium. It can bring into our home major news events of the day, movies, specials, exercising. It seems our choices of viewing are unlimited. But I would like to invite you to spend this next hour with me. It could very well change your life. The title of this program is Millionaire Maker, and that's exactly what it could do for you. In addition to Ed, who amassed 2 fortunes before his 35th birthday, you are going to meet millionaires and soon-to-be millionaires who have taken the Ed Beckley course. In fact, over 25,000 in hundreds of cities across this country have taken the Ed Beckley 2-day seminar, most of which are sold out way ahead of time. At the end of this program, Mr. Beckley is going to make an offer to this audience, an offer that can start each and every one of you on your road to financial independence.
In the last 50 years, barring no other period. As a matter of fact, if right after this lecture, each and every one of you don't go out and buy at least 1 piece of real estate, I'm going to own it all. That's right, it's time to get off our assets and get moving right now. It's the greatest time to buy in the last 50 years, and I'll be showing you 5 powerful reasons you should be buying now. Number 2, I want to share with you how you can get 7 to 10% interest rates today. Number 3, we're going to talk about how you can legally pay 0 income tax. As a matter of fact, you can even get money back for the last 3 years in the form of refunds from your income taxes. Number 4, we're going to show you specific formulas by which you can buy property whether you have cash, credit, or even a steady job. We're going to also show you how to buy property so that you have no negative cash flows, and so how you can take these techniques and retire comfortably within a 3 to 5 year period, working the equivalent of about 1 weekend a month. You know, why should people invest? Well, I think they invest for a variety of reasons. I think they invest for their future, their family, and ultimately for their retirement. But people also invest because they have dreams. There's so many dreams out there. You might dream of maybe just taking life a little easier, traveling around the world, or maybe just not having to go to work every single day at the same job. But whatever your dreams are, unfortunately, Uncle Sam tells you and me that we will not be able to accomplish those dreams. According to a recent government survey, it was found that 98 out of 100 Americans in this country at age 65 are either broke, dependent upon government or family handouts, or they still have to be working. That's a tragedy, folks. We can't depend on Social Security. We've got to depend on ourselves. You know, what choice do people have? They have no choice. Do you think you can invest in stocks and become financially secure? Forget it. You know something? That I heard a good definition of a stockbroker the other day. He's a guy who invests your money till you don't have it anymore. You know, also, I heard some statistics, fascinating statistics published by the New York Stock Exchange that said that 7 out of 10 stockbrokers never owned any stock. Smart people. And you know something? I don't think the stock market gives anybody out there the peace of mind they're looking for because it lacks one important ingredient, and you're going to want to take this down. You lack control. And whenever you lose control of your investment, right at that point, you'll lose control of your investment destiny and lose your capital very quickly thereafter. We put you in control of your capital by investing in well-selected, income-producing properties. Savings account, my goodness, when's the last time you ever heard of anybody who saved their way to a fortune today? It's an absurdity. It just won't happen. Some people are going into businesses for themselves, but you know, they're going against the statistics. So statistics say that 9 out of 10 people who invest in businesses today will fail. Those aren't good odds. If the odds are 400 to 1 in your favor that you'll make it in well-selected income-producing property today. So forget about all these others. Choose an area such as real estate that 90% of all millionaires made their millions. And get started now. One of the fundamental points in terms of buying property today successfully and making money today is buying property so that you get flexible terms. What do I mean by flexible terms? Much lower than market interest rate, much lower than market payments. Certain provisions that we put in the notes today in order to really be able to acquire those properties comfortably. As a matter of fact, right now I'd like to share with you the fundamental center of the no down payment system of the 1980s. In fact, it's the foundation block of it. And you want to take this down. If you get nothing else from this lecture, take this down. When people buy property, they don't buy price. People buy monthly payments. Isn't that true? People buy monthly payments today. And let me illustrate that very briefly. I'm going to auction off $1 million house to all of you right now. And I'm going to sell it for nothing down, no payments, due in 50 years. How many are interested in that house? You all like that? Do you all see my point? Do you all see my point? People buy monthly payments. As a matter of fact, if I were to raise that price to $1,050,000, but I kept the payments the same, maybe some of you would still be interested? Is that right?
Sure.
Yeah, everybody'd be interested. That's correct. So as a result, we've got to look and really orient ourselves toward monthly payments today. See, buying for nothing down is relatively easy. You know, as a matter of fact, I get so excited about this, I'll even show you how to buy property for no monthly payments. I find most people can afford this. Isn't that right? Of course, you might have a balloon payment down the line somewhere. Do you all know what a balloon payment is?
No, catch-up payment.
Well, some of you might, for those of you who don't know, instead of having very difficult to make monthly payments, you have one impossible to make final payment. Isn't that right? We call those neutron loans. They destroy all the people, but they leave the houses standing. How many in this room have a balloon payment due in the next few years? Does anybody? Okay, a couple of you have balloon payments due in the next couple of years. Isn't that something? Well, you know, we show you over 15 ways of handling a balloon payment when it comes due. And somebody asked me, Ed, why 15? You know the way I figured, folks, in case one or two don't work, you got 12 or 13 more. Doesn't that make sense? If you got lots of ways of doing something, you increase the chances of success today for yourself. As a matter of fact, do you know there's billions of dollars in balloon payments coming due all across this country? Do you know what that spells? R-O-L-A-I-D-S. No, it spells opportunity for each and every one of you who take the time and get the know-how and go out and seize that opportunity now.
I'm invited to tennis tournaments all over the world. I love the game and I love to travel. But you know something? I wouldn't be invited if I wasn't competitive. And to be competitive in anything, you must have knowledge. My knowledge of tennis came from the pros. Knowledge is the key. And Ed Beckley is the pro who is handing you the key to financial independence. I'm not from Missouri, but I sure have one of their qualities, skepticism. Show me. Well, Ed sent his camera crew around the country to interview some of his seminar students. They made a believer out of me.
Oh, we have done fantastic with the course. We took the course in August, and we've been able to, since then, put together 2 joint ventures. And when the construction is completed, we'll have made $50,000. None of our money put into it, and basically finder's fees. And then we've been looking for properties where we can get cash back out, which is what the No Down seminar teaches us. And the deal we're working on right now, when that closes, we'll actually make $106,000 paid to us, and we'll net about $83,000 out of that. And that's for about 3 days worth of work, so that's not too bad.
I took the Ed Beckley seminar on how to buy real estate without any money down 3 weeks ago, and I'm glad I did. My wife tried desperately to talk me out of it. She thought it would be a waste of time, and I would never put the knowledge to work, and I was too busy with the other 2 businesses that I own presently, and I decided that it was real important that I gave it a try. I heard of other people that have been successful with it on both coasts, and I thought there might be an opportunity here in central Iowa to do the same thing. So I took the course, and in the first 3 weeks, we've bought 7 properties that are now in escrow waiting for closings. 6 of the properties will be getting $5,000 back out of the proceeds of the closing. So in 3 weeks, we've made $30,000. My partner and I are going to split 50-50. She's done most of the telephoning and asking the questions and previewing the properties, and I've helped her with the closings and the financing. And it's been a real nice situation. We're looking forward to probably closing on between 35 and 40 homes before the first of the year. Another nice aspect is that I had high earnings for the last 3 years, and I'll be able to get back some of the income tax that I've paid in over the last 3 years. And that was one of the things that I got out of the seminar.
I started with $50, no credit, no job, and just a strong desire to be successful and do a service. These techniques are powerful. I use these techniques, creative financing, no money down real estate, and I acquired over $1.5 million worth of income-producing real estate, including a beautiful home for myself within 18 months. And this technology, I think, is something that can be applied by anyone, regardless of race, background, culture, what have you, because these are general techniques, and knowledge is power. And by applying these techniques, you can see that you can do something of service. Everyone needs a home. You need a home. Everyone needs a home. You can do something for yourself, do something for someone else, and it's one of the proven greatest investments is real estate. So I feel that a person can become very wealthy in a short period of time using these techniques and also help others.
Now let's get back to Ed, gain more knowledge that will open the door down the path of the wealthy. I'm for that.
Is there any possible way that you can become financially independent today working for somebody else? Anyway? No. You can work hard. Your wife can work hard. You can make your kids go do paper routes and steal their money. You just can't make it on a job today, even if you made $100,000 a year, because income taxes would eat that up. See, the biggest myth in our society today is grow up, get a good education, go out, get a good job, and you will be financially secure. Is that a myth? You bet it is. Because a job was never meant to give you financial security. See, a job was meant to give you subsistence. A job was never meant to give you financial security. It was meant to give you subsistence. You are meant to develop financial security on your own. So why not find an investment vehicle, such as real estate, that has the power to multiply wealth very quickly and very rapidly, and at the same time the safety I think we're all looking for? And you know what I mean by that? Do you know that the single-family home has gone up in value 82 out of the last 86 years? I don't think any other investment can compete with that. Lots of people tell me, yeah, I'm paying too much tax. My goodness, do you think it's the IRS's responsibility to teach you and me how to handle our money? No, it's only their responsibility to take as much as they possibly can. However, you really don't need to do that. In fact, the truly wealthy people learn how to totally or at least partially eliminate their income tax burden so they can reinvest those valuable dollars to build their estate very quickly and very rapidly. Let me show you how they do this through the magic of what the IRS calls depreciation. Now, this is a legal and very safe loophole given to people who buy well-selected income-producing property and rent it out. This is how it works. Let's assume you go out and buy $540,000 worth of real estate. You're so excited about this program. Would anybody be scared to death buying that much property? Well, of course you would. Of course you don't know what to buy, how to buy it, what kind of financing to put on the property, and how to really turn it and hold it for a profit. That's what we teach in the seminar. But if you think you need that much property in order to pay zero income tax, you don't. Basically, what you do is you take that $540,000 worth of real estate, exclusive of land value, and the IRS lets us deduct the value of that property over an 18-year period. Now, $540,000 divided by 18 gives us $30,000 worth of depreciation allowance. Now, understand this. This isn't a real expense. It's a phantom or artificial expense. Nonetheless, it can be deducted from our tax forms each and every year. So that gives us $30,000 worth of depreciation allowance. Let's assume that you had a job and you were earning about $30,000 a year from your regular wages and salaries. So you got $30,000 in the job and $30,000 worth of depreciation allowance. How much tax would you pay in that year? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's how we get wealthy today, by using those valuable dollars and reinvesting them properly today. But in case you think that I'm here just to show you how to pay zero income tax, I'm not. I want to ask all of you something. How many of you would be interested in getting your last 3 years' income taxes back in the form of a refund? Yeah, almost everybody out there. I don't blame you. Let me show you a valuable technique that all of you need to take down right now. You buy enough well-selected income-producing property so that in the current year, you generate enough depreciation so that you pay no tax. As a matter of fact, you bought enough property so you can carry back the excess depreciation, file an amended tax return, and you can carry that back to last year and recover all those taxes you paid in last year. In fact, you can carry it back 2 years, you can carry it back all 3 years and recover all taxes you paid in for the last 3 years. Isn't anybody excited about this but me? This is your money, and unless you do something about it right now, it'll be gone. And you know the really neat thing about it is, Uncle Sam will pay you interest on this money. This technique is written right in the Internal Revenue Code. The wealthy have been using it for years. You need to get right off the stick right now and begin buying this kind of property and begin generating depreciation so that you can get on to your millionaire status today. Let me share with you why real estate is the single best investment vehicle that I know for creating wealth today, and why you should be investing in real estate right now. Number one, inflation. You see, as long as the government spends more money than it takes in, that's called deficit spending, and that's a very serious problem in this country. Now, the government has two choices with respect to deficit spending. Either one, they can raise taxes, which is very politically unpopular, or they can crank up the printing presses and print more money to actually pay for those deficits today. Now, if they crank up the printing presses, that's very inflationary, and in my opinion, that's what will happen. In fact, there's never been a period in recorded history in which inflation and the single-family home didn't march up together. And I think most folks that don't invest in at least one single-family home today is going to be left behind. In fact, I believe that now is the greatest time to buy real estate in the last 50 years.
You talk a lot about no down payment transactions. And what I don't understand is, every time I look in the newspaper, even in the Sunday section, I haven't found anybody that will sell property for no money down.
You know, it's rather amusing. I get all across the country, and I get that question asked many different times today. And as a matter of fact, the newspaper is only one of about 100 places in which we find motivated sellers and find nothing down transactions. My basic philosophy in life is take it as it comes, and if it doesn't come, go get it. And if you can't get it, create it. So we'll show you many different ways, for example, to identify a motivated seller in the newspaper who doesn't necessarily think he's going to sell for nothing down, but once you show him the important benefits to him at that time, then you may be able to structure the transaction such that you buy the property for nothing down, and at many times you're even able to put cash in your pocket. So two facets to that. One is we create situations based on identifying motivated sellers in the newspaper. Secondly, we have over 99 other different places that we look, other than the newspaper, for finding nothing down transactions, including the local legal newspaper, including collection agencies. That includes talking to your bankers and buying properties that banks have had to foreclose on, and just a myriad of other areas, various real estate agents that deal in these kinds of properties. It's an exciting area. Don't you all think so?
Mr. Beckley, I've invested in real estate before, but my biggest concern is negative cash flow or just problems with management. Can you expound a little on these, please?
It's a good question, Jim. It's a very good question, and people are concerned about that throughout the United States. And one of the unique facets of the No Down Payment Seminar for the 1980s is this. we show people how to begin to eliminate the negative cash flows and actually create positive cash flows through a number of different methods. Number one, we use the equity sharing program, which is the new technology of the 1980s. And equity sharing, in essence, is if you've acquired a property, and let's assume you have a negative cash flow, that means you've got to take money out of your pocket each and every month. We call those alligators. And you know why alligators are green? Because they eat money. Exactly. So as a result, what we try to do at that point is then show you, you have a negative cash flow. You don't want that negative cash flow. So there's a benefit in every property that you may not need. You may not need the tax benefit inherent in that property. As a result, you can sell part of the tax benefits to a partner. That partner then can take part ownership in that piece of property, and in exchange for part ownership, they'll handle a negative cash flow. It might be $100 a month. And I can show people how, by investing and taking on your negative cash flow, the tax benefits alone will yield them anywhere between 30 and 70% return on their invested dollars. Is that a pretty good return? So what we do is we take a negative cash flow, and we turn it into a positive asset for ourselves. Now that's one way of eliminating our own negative cash flows. Another way is by structuring the financing properly. Two ways come to mind. One, there's a lot of low interest rate government loans available for rehabilitation and refinancing, and that's one area in which we do cover. Secondly, I think one of the most important areas is how we structure the financing. When we deal with sellers of properties, we try to get the sellers to take the maximum amount of financing on that property. Because is a seller more flexible in interest rate and monthly payments than a bank? Is a seller more flexible? Of course they're more flexible, because they've got other motives, not just the motive of just trying to finance the property and earn interest. What's their other motive?
To sell.
Yeah, they want to sell. They're trying to sell that property. Exactly. So you can use that motive to get the seller to accept much lower than market monthly payments, particularly in the initial stages of that loan. Now let's assume it's a rental property. And let's assume that if the seller were to finance a property in a conventional manner, that means he was going to charge you 12% interest rate, that you would, after renting that property out, have a $100 a month negative cash flow. One solution to that is have the seller accept $100 less in the first 3 years of that mortgage. Is that everybody with me on that? $100 less in the first 3 years of that mortgage. Now, the question comes, what do you do at the end of 3 years? During that interim time, if you've bought in a well-selected area and a good economic base, your rental structure would have increased enough to totally eliminate your negative cash flow. So that's another way in which we can do that. See, there's not a money problem in this country. There's a crisis in creativity. It's the person that continues to perceive limitations in their life that never gets anywhere. It's the person that searches out and gets the knowledge. These are the people that are going to be the millionaires of the 1980s and the 1990s.
What about the single person or the young couple that doesn't have credit? What do they do about buying property? Because I realize that you must have credit before you purchase, but how do you go about buying property without the credit?
It's interesting. The late psychologist William James once said that genius is nothing more than thinking in unhabitual ways. And what you say, Rebecca, is a truism for most folks. They accept the fact that you do need good credit in order to buy property, and that is a myth. And one of the things that our seminars teach, that it is a myth. Well, let me kind of share something with you about that. First of all, you can buy properties for little or nothing down, even if you don't have good credit, by doing the following. First of all, you can assume certain loans, long-term fixed-rate loans. Now, certain loans are assumable today. They're VA loans, FHA loans, and you know you don't need good credit. You could have been bankrupt yesterday, and you can still assume these loans. You can also assume certain owner loans. Why can you? Most owners don't even check on your credit. Secondly, if an owner is going to finance the property, let me get back to that here in just a minute, but when an owner wants to help finance the property by taking a second mortgage or a third mortgage on the property, in all the transactions which I've ever been involved in, that number's millions of dollars, I've never had a seller of a property or an owner of a property check my credit when they financed the property. So therefore, if you had an FHA underlying loan or a VA underlying loan and the seller financed the balance of the property purchase, it wouldn't matter if you've been bankrupt yesterday. You can still acquire property even if you don't have credit.
Is there an age limit? Is higher education necessary in order to follow through on Ed Beckley's no down payment formulas? Well, let's look and listen to some seminar graduates.
I'm only a high school student, but I feel like I've learned so much being here. I didn't know anything about taxes or real estate or anything, but now I feel like I can actually go out and buy a house and not have to depend on anybody to put me through college or get me started in life. I think I can do it all on my own now.
I thought it was very good. It was better even than I expected it to be.
I think the seminar is absolutely wonderful. I knew nothing about real estate in this country before I went to it, and now I feel very knowledgeable.
I took the home study course in January of 1984, and I've since acquired 4 properties, all with nothing down, and have put about $10,000 in my pocket. All of this is done through the tapes and the workbook. It's wonderful. You can listen to the tapes and always go back to them. It's actually Ed giving the seminar on tapes, and I've been able to use them with each property that I have acquired.
It's very easy to find the information that you're looking for. You can just thumb through the tapes, find the section that you want, and it's there. Within minutes, you've got the information that you need, and you're already structuring your own deal and applying it to your own situation. It's all so simple and basic. You know, it's just no problem at all. My partner has absolutely no experience in real estate. She was a bookkeeper for a doctor in town. And she came to me and said, I want to make a lot of money. I said, great, we're going to buy real estate. We took Ed Beckley's seminar, and the next week we were in business. She's made $15,000 in 3 weeks. I think she's pretty happy.
Let me ask you something, each and every one of you, and only each of you can answer this. Would you pay $500 to be able to live without monthly payments in your own home, to learn that one technique alone? Again, only you can answer that. Number 2, would you pay $500 to learn not one way, but 9 different ways of buying property for nothing down and putting up to $10,000 cash in your pocket? Again, only you can answer that. Number 3, at this junction of the economy, at this dynamic period in history, would you pay $500 to learn 100 ways to buy property whether you had cash, credit, or a job? Number 4, would you pay $500 to save between $3,000 and $6,000 on your income taxes this year? Perfectly legal, perfectly safe. And number 5, my own patented formula, how to develop between $2,000 and $7,000 a month, 90 to 180 days following the course, and that's tax-free income. Would you pay $500 to learn that one technique alone? Well, folks, I only do this to give you a perspective on it, because this all adds up to $2,500. People have paid all across the country over $500 for this individual course. And these 5 items here, by the way, are just a small fraction of what you're going to get in the No Down Payment Seminar for the 1980s. You'll get an over 200-page instructional manual. You're going to get the checklist, the charts. You're going to get actual nothing down offer forms that you can actually make your first offers by just using tracing paper. Show you how to put these offers together. You're also going to get 15 hours of powerful taped instruction about the course of a live seminar that I actually taught. I don't ask you for $2,500 or even $500 in a one-time television offer, and we've never done this before. This entire home study course is available to you for $295 if you order now. Ladies and gentlemen, $295 will not alter your standard of living, but this course will change your life.
Can Ed Beckley make you a millionaire? He believes he can. Hundreds of his no down payment course graduates have made their fortunes based on the information you will find in this home study course. There are over 15 hours of information-filled and inspiring audio cassettes, the 200-page instruction manual with enclosed charts, checklists, and nothing down offer forms will make your learning easy, simple, and systematic. Learn how to retire comfortably in 3 to 5 years, working the equivalent of 1 weekend per month. Buy property using 10 different ways that actually put cash in your pocket. Make $2,000 to $7,000 per month within 90 to 180 days following the course. Cut your income taxes legally and safely by 75%. Don't miss this opportunity of a lifetime, especially now. Thousands across America have paid over $500 for this valuable course, and yet in this special television offer, it can be yours for only $395. Don't miss ordering this remarkable no-down payment home study course for only $395, complete with a special 6-month money-back guarantee. Ed Beckley became a millionaire in less than 3 years using these powerful techniques for investing in real estate with little or no money down. You can do it too. Order now. To order, call free 1-800-268-6364. That's 1-800-268-6364. All major credit cards accepted. Or send your check or money order to Beckley Business Seminar, 1555 Warden Avenue, Box 180, Scarborough, Ontario. That's Beckley Business Seminar, 1555 Warden Avenue, Box 180, Scarborough, Ontario.
Made the offer this morning. It's a $200,000 house. We will make $80,000, and the way it's set up, it'll be not only break even, but we should have some positive cash flow after the first year. Mm-hmm. So, and we're going in, like she said, 3 days of work, and we're going into buying 1 a month after that, and we've already lined up the next one.
Well, from high school students to grandmothers, from real estate agents to recent U.S. citizens, they have made $1 million or are well on their way. Now, let's get back to the program.
10-point system by which you can make a fortune in the 1980s. Number 1, define your goals. J. Paul Getty, the late billionaire, once said, if you don't define your goals, that's just an excuse for not trying. And we've all heard the axiom that says, people who fail to plan, plan to fail. Get well-defined objectives and begin moving forward. People succeed because of reasons. Now, some people want to do very well because they just don't want to be poor. Some people want to do well because they want lots of things in life. Some of you want nice cars, boats, homes. Some of you want to do well because you want some of the non-things in life. You want to travel. You want to have more leisure time, spend more time with your family. And many of you want one of the biggest non-things, and that's just to give away a lot of your money, to really support causes that you think are important to you. Whatever the reason, people will not succeed until they have reasons. So you better get yourself a bunch of reasons or forget about success. Well, I always ask people, if you truly had to be rich, could you? If it was your burning desire, if it was down deep that you absolutely made it your necessity every single day, could you? You have to ask yourself. And if you could, would you be willing to pay the price? Would you be willing to make the phone calls out of the newspaper and talk to the folks, people selling their house? Would you be willing to pay that price? Only you can answer that. How much is it worth to you? I see being wealthy is equating to freedom because money buys leisure time. Money buys choices in our world today. You know, when we talk about that, I like to lay out kind of a specific message on that. Number 1, when we talk about getting well-defined goals, put specifically what you want. Let's say you're a first-time home buyer and you want to just buy that first house. Write down the following. I will buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house near Main and 2nd Street. It will be approximately 10 years old. It will have a crack on the toilet seat. Do you get my point? Be specific. Write it down, and I will buy this house by January 1, 1985. Now, you've written everything down very specifically for your goal. Now, you may have much more ambitious goals than that. Some of you may want to retire in 5 years. And so you may have a goal, I will have an independent income from my real estate investments of $5,000 a month by January 1, 1990. That might be an admirable goal. Whatever it is, make it very specific. Now, once you write down your goal or your set of goals, at the bottom of the set of goals that you have, you must write down the following. I hereby swear I'm going to accomplish the above goals, and then sign your name. Commit. If it's worthwhile, commit to it. Do you all see the purpose of signing your name to it? You've made sure that you're really committed to this whole idea. And you know, you then take that set of goals and you read it in the morning, when you get up, and you read it before you go to bed. It's absolutely vital to your success today in investing in real estate. Is it worth it? What if you had to be wealthy? What if you absolutely had to? What if your children's life depended on it? Could you? Is it worth it to spend 2 or 3 years of interesting, exciting, creative labor to accomplish what you want to be in life? Because one thing is very important, I think most people don't understand. It's not the money. It's who you become in the process. It's not the pursuit of riches. It's not the riches itself. It's the pursuit that makes what you are. Work harder on yourself than you do the money. Money is attracted, not pursued. Number 1, define your goals. A pre-requirement to any kind of success is getting down and laying down a foundation of goals today. So Monday or Tuesday, before you do anything else, lay down written goals. Number 2, gain market knowledge. I'd like to talk about 2 things with respect to market knowledge. Number 1, choose one neighborhood and specialize in that neighborhood. We like to buy in working class neighborhoods. Now, my definition of a working class neighborhood is based on what we call the second gear theory. The second gear theory goes like this. You put your car in second gear and you drive through that neighborhood, and if it has more pickup trucks than cars, then you buy in that neighborhood. We want a working class neighborhood as our fundamental basis. Now, why do we like that? First of all, working class neighborhoods, people work for a living, which means that they're out there and they have skills. Even during recessionary periods, they can do alternative trades and things. They might be carpenters, they might be bricklayers. They've always got some kind of skill that they can go out and they can get handiwork, because things do fall apart. And so we find that working class is going to be a much better neighborhood for most of us in which to buy. In fact, I tell people I could lose everything I have right now, and I'd have it back in a year or 2. Because my true wealth isn't anything external to me. It isn't the assets I have, the money I have, the houses I have. It's all up here.
Do you know, I feel I could go out right now and buy property for nothing down. Let's see, you set your own goals, gain market knowledge. Well, let's check again with some of Ed's graduates.
Background, I started in real estate. In my first 18 months in real estate, I started with $50, no job, no credit, and within the first 18 months of using these creative techniques, no money down, creative techniques, I acquired over $1.5 million in real estate.
It's all very simple. As a matter of fact, every property that I've acquired, I've just used the workbook and listened to the tapes and followed it, and it became very easy. Now I'm learning from it, but you have everything right there. It's just ABC.
Now, let's go back to the Millionaire maker with point 3.
Number 3, we like to buy houses, condominiums, duplexes, and fourplexes. We generally exclude raw land. In some cases, we do buy apartment buildings, and only very specific cases, only when the apartment building will yield immediate cash flow to ourselves based on how we structure the financing today. Number 4, we buy property from motivated sellers. Generally, in any marketplace, we find 10 to 15% as motivated sellers. Now, what's a motivated seller? Let me ask all of you out here, what's a motivated seller? Now, motivated seller might be somebody who's behind in their payments facing foreclosure. A motivated seller might be somebody who, may have other debt problems. A motivated seller might be a probate sale. That means somebody has died And a divorce. People get very motivated in a divorce situation. Now, I don't mean to suggest that we descend upon these poor people that have problems in their hour of need and steal their houses. No, I don't mean to suggest that. These people have problems in the marketplace whether you and I exist or not. No. But once you get the knowledge and once you get the know-how, it becomes your duty to help them solve their problem. And that's exactly what you do. You profit from it. They can profit from it at the same time. As a matter of fact, my whole philosophy in life about that is take it as it comes. And if it doesn't come, go get it. And if you can't get it, create it. But make things happen. I find most people get up in the morning with their fingers crossed. Well, you know, I hope things get better today. Well, Mabel, I know they're going to get better. Our ship's coming in. But they don't get better until you make them better. They just don't get better until you make them better. In fact, we were at a seminar recently, and somebody asked me, Ed, how do you find a motivated divorce case? You could create one. So number 4, buy properties only from motivated sellers. Number 5 is buy properties that have long-term fixed-rate assumable loans on them. You know the kind I mean? You know the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% loans that you can take over, you can actually assume as a buyer. These loans are gold and they're going to be gone real soon. They're being replaced by what are called ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages today. And we've actually created a 2-tier market. Properties that have the old mortgages, the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% mortgages, versus the properties that have what we call the ARMs, the adjustable rate mortgages. And this is how an adjustable rate mortgage might work. You might acquire a property today and it's an 11% mortgage, but based on some Federal Reserve index or money market index, that mortgage rate could rise over a period of time, giving you great insecurity because you don't know what your monthly payment's going to be well into the future. As a matter of fact, it could rise so high that you could be drinking gallons of Maalox every year just in anticipation. So as a result, I like security, and I like the security of the long-term fixed-rate mortgage today. That's how we get low interest rate loans today, the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11% loans. We can assume many of these mortgages. FHA mortgages are totally assumable. VA mortgages are totally assumable. Many owners will allow you to assume these long-term fixed-rate mortgages. They become very valuable to acquire properties based on that because they allow you, number 1, they give you security in knowing what your payment's going to be well into the future. And that's really helpful because, number 2, by knowing what your payment's going to be, we're assuming that real estate, or particularly the single-family home, is going to rise with the rate of inflation 4, 5, 6, 7% per year. And your payment's going to stay the same, and rents are going to continue to rise, which means you're going to be in a positive cash flow position several years down the line. So this is real fundamental, I think, to the no-down payment system for the 1980s. We buy long-term fixed-rate assumable loans. Number 6, when we buy properties, we try to get maximum owner financing today. And what's maximum owner financing, and why do we want that? Is a seller or an owner of a property more flexible than a banker? They're much more flexible than the banker because they have different sets of motivations than bankers. Their primary objective is not to get a high interest rate on the loan that they're carrying back when selling the property. Their primary objective is to what? Is to sell their property. So as a result, you can generally get lower than market payments, lower than market interest rates, and certain provisions in the notes that really help you out in terms of acquiring these properties. Number 7, we try to get the seller to give us flexible terms. What are flexible terms? Much lower than market interest rate, much lower than market payments, certain creative provisions we put in the notes, such as, and don't be afraid of these big words, subordination clauses, substitution of collateral, certain exculpatory clauses. Sounds like you're choking on something, doesn't it? Exculpatory clause is a certain clause we put in a note that says that when I sign that note, and it's secured by a piece of property, that if I don't pay that note, the only security the lender has is that piece of property. It limits it. It limits your own personal liability. It's good to know about that so you don't extend yourself and expose yourself to a lot of other problems in the event that something does go wrong with that piece of property. Number 9, you can eliminate your cash contribution. See, one of the biggest myths in our society is it takes money to make money. And let me explode that myth right now. How many of you out here have ever heard of somebody who inherited a lot of money and then lost it very soon thereafter? How many have heard of that? Lots of folks have done that. And you know, if that myth had been true, it takes money to make money, then those folks had the seeds for financial independence, but they blew it. And you know what they lacked? They lacked knowledge. Knowledge is power in this marketplace. So it doesn't necessarily take money, it takes ideas. When we don't have something, we can go get it. Now, our whole philosophy is based on the very simple principle of OPM. And do you know what OPM is? And it's not a drug.
Opportunity.
No, other people's money. Let me give you an example of how we use other people's money to leverage ourselves very quickly but very safely to wealth. How many in here own their own home, or own a house, or have owned a house in here? You guys own some property? Good. Many of you have. Well, I'll kind of give you a very brief example of this. I was a featured speaker at a publishing convention last year, and a lady came up to me and she said, "Ed, I'm really excited about buying real estate right now, but I don't have any money. And I haven't taken your course, and I just don't know what to do. And I'm on my own now, so I've really got to do something." Well, I asked her what she did have, and she said, I do have a house. But she said, I talked to all the experts, and the experts say, you can't do anything with that, just that house, it's just no good. Let me talk a bit about one of the ways that I suggested that she unlocked the equity in her home without going through any of those other 3 alternatives. Told her to go to a stationery store, title company. Go on down and buy a promissory note. Title company will just give it to you, or an attorney. It's just a note. It's an IOU. Fill in that note with the interest rate you like. I asked her, what interest rate would you like? She said 7% interest. How much would you like on that note? She said $10,000. She said, this is getting to be fun, Ed. You sure it's legal? I said, it's perfectly legal. I asked her what kind of payment she liked. She said $70 a month. She says, wow, I like this. And when would you like that note all due and payable? She said 7 years. Well, we now have this note, this piece of paper that she's all filled out. I owe somebody, doesn't matter who at this point, it's just blank, $10,000 payable at 7% interest, no payments, all due in 7 years. Everybody clear that we now have a note, just a piece of paper like this. Now, she says, what can I do with this piece of paper, Ed? You can exchange that piece of paper as a down payment on another piece of property. She says, but people don't know me. They may not trust me because all it is my signature saying that I'll pay this note. Well, then what you do is then you take that note, and what asset do you have that's very valuable that you could use as security for that note? What asset? She has her house. She could take her house as security, so that note then is secured by her property in the form of a second mortgage. She's unlocked equity in her own home at 7% interest with no payments for 7 years. She's created her own financing. She's unlocked an asset in her own home that she didn't think possible. She then takes that note. She uses that as a down payment on another piece of property. And why did she want to buy another house? Number one, she confided in me that she'd been working hard for a lot of years, made pretty good money, had a pretty good income, but realized she was never able to save anything. Found out and figured out that the only money she ever saved in her life was the equity she had in her own home. And that's the way it is for most folks, too. So she figured if she had 2 homes, she'd build her estate twice as fast right now, just by unlocking that equity in her own home. Number 10, be prepared to hold real estate at least 5 years. It's a long-term wealth building tool. We don't teach you to speculate. In my estimation, most speculators wind up broke. We teach you the nuts and bolts of what you need to know to build a solid estate. And at the same time, begin to generate yourself cash flow as rapidly and as quickly as possible so that you then have a measure of independence for yourself, so you then have a choice in your life. I always like to ask a question at this point. And how many people in this room want to be a millionaire? Raise your hands high. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. I heard something a long time ago that I want to share with all of you right now. It's the most exciting and important thing I ever heard about making money. And if you do nothing else today, take this down. If you really want to be a millionaire, do this. Watch what the poor people do and then don't do it. Hey, that's inside stuff. I don't share that with everybody. I mean that. You watch. Are there any millionaires in the audience? Hey, if there are, you go up and touch them. It rubs off. You got to get around where it's nicer. You got to get around where things are nicer. People are nicer. Get around the experts. Get around these people. That's what I did. It pays off. I mean, gosh, if you want one of those $500,000 houses, the first step in getting one? Drive right by it. That's the first step. They don't rope them off. You can drive right by. You got to get around where it's nicer. You can't get inspired every day by driving by the city dump. You got to get around where things are better.
Is there an age limit? Is higher education necessary in order to follow through on Ed Beckley's no down payment formulas? Well, let's look and listen to some seminar graduates.
Obviously, financial independence, that's been a big goal of ours, and financial independence is the vehicle for us to do what we really want to do with our lives. And I guess time is what is most crucial to us. I don't want to have to work for other people. And real estate and the No Down Seminar has really been the opportunity for me to realize that I can realize those dreams, because through real estate, I can make the financial independence and be on our way with the things we want to do. And one of the areas that I want is to have foster home or adoption capability for children, have a big house, and New England is my goal. And Robert has different dreams.
Well, my immediate dream, of course, is to afford her dream. But bigger than that is I have a dollar goal set, which right now would calculate out to about 100 homes. And every offer we make and what we have behind us in the last 2 months makes that dream grow larger. The 100 homes is becoming very easy to buy. I've read some other books. We've looked into other methods, and this one just seems to work because it's answered every problem we've had. I can't say enough for it.
We found it really easy to get people to accept the formulas that were offered in the seminar. I thought that it would be tough. Maybe we'd be able to close 1 out of 10 properties. We found that we've been able to close as high as 6 out of 10 because we preview the property so carefully over the phone before we take the time to go and look at them. Our time is really precious, and we spend 2 days a week at it, Tuesday and Thursday of each week, and we've picked out one city to concentrate on until we feel as though we've got the absorption that we want in that particular area. Then we'll move on to the next town. And the system works. It's just so basic and so easy. Everything that you need to know is in the seminar. And the manuals are there for backup. We listen to the tapes because you're constantly getting new ideas about some new formulas that you could use for the no money down situation.
You can do something for yourself, do something for someone else, and it's one of the proven greatest investments is real estate. So I feel that a person can become very wealthy in a short period of time using these techniques and also help others.
Also, everybody is concerned about safety and they're afraid of risk. A wise man once said the ultimate risk is never having even tried. But we're going to eliminate a lot of the risk by putting in the safety clauses that each of you need when you make those offers, how they become riskless offers. And how with our checklists, our charts, our systems, you've covered 99% of the possibilities that could happen in a real estate transaction. So you control your ability to make profits in these kinds of real estate transactions with the knowledge you're going to gain through this important course. Let me ask you something. Each and every one of you, and only each of you can answer this. Would you pay $500 to be able to live without monthly payments in your own home, to learn that one technique alone? Again, only you can answer that. Number 2, would you pay $500 to learn not one way, but 9 different ways of buying property for nothing down and putting up to $10,000 cash in your pocket? Again, only you can answer that. Number 3, at this junction of the economy, at this dynamic period in history, would you pay $500 to learn 100 ways to buy property whether you had cash, credit, or a job? Number 4, would you pay $500 to save between $3,000 and $6,000 on your income taxes this year? Perfectly legal, perfectly safe. And number 5, my own patented formula, how to develop between $2,000 and $7,000 a month, 90 to 180 days following the course, and that's tax-free income. Would you pay $500 to learn that one technique alone? Well, folks, I only do this to give you a perspective on it, because this all adds up to $2,500. People have paid all across the country over $500 for this individual course. And these 5 items here, by the way, are just a small fraction of what you're going to get in the No Down Payment Seminar for the 1980s. You'll get an over 200-page instructional manual. You're going to get the checklist, the charts. You're going to get actual nothing down offer forms that you can actually make your first offers by just using tracing paper. Show you how to put these offers together. You're also going to get 15 hours of powerful taped instruction about the course of a live seminar that I actually taught. I don't ask you for $2,500 or even $500 in a one-time television offer, and we've never done this before. This entire home study course is available to you for $295 if you order now. Ladies and gentlemen, $295 will not alter your standard of living, but this course will change your life, because the world doesn't care if you ever make it. That's your responsibility. Knowledge is power in today's marketplace. You don't need a lot of money to get started.
That's Ed Beckley on audio cassette. He's a powerful teacher with powerful techniques for creating personal wealth by investing in real estate with little or no money down. And now all of Ed's unique money-making ideas are available to you in his remarkable no down payment home study course.
In this course, you will receive this attractive audio cassette album containing over 15 hours of Ed giving you his techniques for amassing a fortune in 3 to 5 years. And that's not all. You'll also receive this distinctive instruction manual with over 200 pages of easy-to-read and understand money-making strategies, such as over 100 ways to buy real estate without cash, credit, or even a job, 20 ways to develop positive cash flow from property immediately, how to eliminate management problems forever, and how to make up to $500,000 buying foreclosures in the next 3 years alone.
Thousands across the nation have paid over $500 for this course, but now it's available to you for the incredible value of only $395. To order, call free 1-800-268-6364. That's 1-800-268-6364. All major credit cards accepted. Or send your check or money order to Beckley Business Seminar, 1555 Warden Avenue, Box 180, Scarborough, Ontario. That's Beckley Business Seminar, 1555 Warden Avenue, Box 180,